Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is, as promised, the follow-up review or my final thoughts on the Chaka by Chaka Khan perfume. I did an unboxing and initial impressions video a couple days ago, but at the conclusion of that video I was like, wow, this fragrance is great, but I don't feel like I'm doing it justice and I need to come back and do another video. So here we are. So yeah, it may seem like only a day or two went by, but that's because I was lollygagging with editing and posting the first one. So for starters, we have the two bottles. So what I purchased was the promo gift set that HSN is doing for the release of the fragrance, and that includes the 3.4 ml eau de parfum and the 0.58 of the Parfum. They are both in ceramic bottles with plastic caps like we talked about last time, and I did a little research to understand why ceramic was used. So ceramic bottles, of course, I've never owned a ceramic perfume bottle in my life, but apparently in antiquity, throughout history, ceramic was one of the choice materials for perfume, and today ceramic is usually reserved for very exclusive, high-end, expensive perfume. So again, like I was saying in the first video, there was just so much love and care and intention put into the development and also the bottling of these fragrances. Like, this is definitely not something that was already created, right, and Chaka Khan just put her name on it. No disrespect to celebrities who have done that, because I'm sure I've enjoyed some of their fragrances or many of their fragrances as well, but kudos to the queen, Chaka Khan, for putting out this great effort for us. I think this is just truly a show. Like, it solidifies her as the ultimate diva for me, because she went the extra mile to have her fragrance put in ceramic bottles. While I was researching about ceramic bottles, I did find out that apparently they were popular, or I guess maybe they came back. They had a little resurgence like in the 70s. And so maybe that's also an ode to Chaka's youth, as well, or the beginning of her career using the ceramic bottles. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Now, mainly in my first video, I was mainly commenting on my experience with the EDP. Now we can go ahead and discuss the EDP. Like, I've worn them individually, I've worn them together, and so on, to really get a feeling for how I prefer to wear this particular fragrance. And I do have some notes because I felt like it was something for an individual. Earth Mama came to mind, that this is a perfume for manifestors. You know, everyone's talking these days about manifesting and this certain level of spirituality, and I know that Miss Chaka herself speaks about, you know, meditation, that she's been an active meditator. She's more into like, I don't even want to say new age spirituality, but let's just say a very open-minded approach to spirituality, right? Not being boxed. So I think this scent is just really perfect for manifestors. Also, I sprayed it on my pillowcases at night, 2 nights in a row, and I just wanted to see what the experience was like. It definitely, I felt like I got just a very deep sleep, and it also just propelled me into these amazing dreams. And with that, I think the scent itself, with it being so warm and having the essential oils and the cinnamon, and that sense of fire that I was telling you guys about before, it feels like it's like dealing with your root chakra, like empowering your root chakra. There's also a word, like, if you're not into chakras and everything, where you deal with like the hierarchy of needs, right? And so the base need for like comfort, security, a sense of belonging, home, things like that, are also associated, or they are very closely associated with the concept of the root chakra. I really felt like this is something that this fragrance gives you, that boost of confidence and grounding. It's definitely not a run-of-the-mill floral. So it's for the bold. It's people who are unique, who are not afraid to stand out. I would not recommend this to anyone who's just looking for a plain, cute, floral perfume. This is not it. This is something that is challenging, for the senses, and it's beautiful. Someone commented on my first video that the fragrance develops continually as you're wearing it, and that is so true. I think this would be great for artists. This is genderless. I said that on the first video too, but as I've continued to wear it, it just is absolutely for men, women, and everyone in between and outside of that, whatever, you know. And it's interesting too, because we're in such an interesting time right now with how people are looking at gender and sexuality and spirituality, and it's like Miss Chaka Khan has captured that in this fragrance. I had the audacity in my first comment or review of this fragrance to say that I was worried, and I was, that it would just be, you know, a ho-hum, like white diamonds kind of situation. But no, she's really, this fragrance really speaks to the times, in the sense that men and women can wear it. And I guess, you know, that's also tying back to the 70s as well, where there was this movement with, you know, towards androgyny and sexual empowerment and spirituality, and people were getting into psychedelics and all that kind of stuff. It's like, you know, we're in that cycle where all of those things are sort of coming back now. And so, but the fragrance still feels revolutionary to me in that sense. Is like, it's maybe capturing the essence of the 70s, but it feels so relevant today. Definitely, again, I have to say there's just that sense of fire, the cinnamon, and the spiciness of it. So I think it's good for fire signs. I am an Aries. It feels highly compatible with my personality as an Aries. But also, I think for someone else, if you're a different sign, or even if you're not into the zodiac, right? For those times when you need to feel more confident, to feel a pick-me-up, to just assert yourself, and fragrance can help you do that. I think you would really want to pick up the Chaka by Chaka Khan fragrance when you're in those types of moods. The EDP, of course, it does not have as much longevity as the Parfum, and I think they smell really different. I'll get into that in a second. But the EDP, to me, once it dries down and about 2 hours in, it really begins to remind me of like cinnamon candy. I used to love, oh my gosh, what are they called? The hot tamales candy. And I was like really into like cinnamon candies as a kid. When everybody was into like the sour stuff, I went through like a cinnamon phase of like cinnamon gum, like that Wrigley cinnamon gum. I don't think they make that anymore. I'm really showing my age, right? But and then there was like Brock's made like a cinnamon hard candy. Oh, and the cinnamon gummy bears, like, it just really, yeah, the cinnamon really comes out for me, but it's like coasting on this silky layer of sandalwood and musk, and a little vanilla. Not so much florals in this one in the dry down, or overall for me in my experience with it. So speaking of which, let's compare the two. So for me, I get more of the sandalwood, the musk, the patchouli, etc., the smokiness, the heat, the warmth with the EDP. And then with the Parfum, a lot of the florals, and especially the ylang. I always want to say ylang. I know it's lang lang, but the ylang, particularly with this one, and it's very sensual and sexy and floral. It's very nice. The EDP, for me, I've worn it in a couple different situations. I've worn it where I was at work. I've worn it where I was like moving around a lot that day. Like there were 2 days where I took like between 10,000 and 11,000 steps each of those days. And so the performance, of course, was affected by that. So I was like, okay, let me finally today, on a day that I wasn't doing too much, you know, physically, I wore it. And so it definitely, under all circumstances, performed for me, that it starts to really develop like 15 minutes in, and it continues to develop for that like first hour, and then it's strong, a powerhouse fragrance for about 2 hours, and then it begins to decline for me unless I spray more of it, of course, but it begins to decline, and then around the 4th hour it's very faint, almost non-existent. Now the Parfum, on the other hand, as you would probably expect, lasts like indefinitely. I've sprayed it, you know, on my wrist at night, and I've also experimented like spraying it on clothes as well. And it doesn't give up. Right, it's there, but it's very floral, it's very nice. It definitely contains, you know, the cinnamon and everything and the sandalwood, but it just feels more refined here. Like the cinnamon in the EDP feels very spicy, like I said, like that cinnamon gummy bear, cinnamon candy, very bright and in your face. Doesn't smell like artificial like those, but it's just a very strong like cinnamon stick in your face. This one, you know, is like, you know, when you buy perfume and it has like this exotic name for the cinnamon. This has like that. It's like that. It's like so and so, blanketing like sandalwood. That's not listed in the notes, but that's the feeling that you get, right? You know, this one just feels like very refined. The more high end one, long lasting. Oh yeah. So right now it is 7:07 p.m. and I sprayed this at noon, around 11:30 or noon, and it's still going strong. So that being said, because for me the longevity with the EDP is lower, also because I plan to buy more of this, probably more and more and more. Like I'm gonna have to stop myself at some point from buying more of these, but I'm gonna get at least one more, right, as a backup. I love wearing these together because you get the ylang, all of the florals, the prettiness, and it stays on. This one, and I'm a person who typically, I don't spray a lot of perfume, right? I usually do I like 1 or 2 sprays, maybe 3 to 4, depending on if it's something very light. This one, I find myself spraying, and it does have that like very light and diffuse spray as well, so you can kind of cover a wide area with it, but I'm going with like 5 to 7 sprays of this, which is very unusual for me. I don't know if it's because I'm so in love with the fragrance. Well, I do know. It's partially that I'm so in love with the fragrance. It's also partially that my experience that I've had with it sort of dying down. And I don't usually carry perfume with me, but if I do, I would prefer it to be something like in this size. So if anyone's listening, you know, if we could get like the EDP in a smaller size, or maybe I even need to check HSN because maybe they've thought of that already. But one that's more portable for the EDP, that will be cool. With the EDP, it could take you from a yoga retreat anywhere to date night. The Parfum, I feel like, is just a more formal feeling. You could wear it to a formal event or a professional setting where you want to be confident and stand out. The Parfum, well, the projection on both of these is, for the EDP, it is moderate. On the Parfum, it's I don't want to say it's a skin scent. I was tempted to say that, and I wrote that in my notes, but it does have a pretty low projection. It's very intimate, but I've also gone very light with this, and I feel like if you spray too much of the Parfum, you could get like a very heavy projection. Depending on you and your personality, and if you like to leave a scent trail behind, you could get like major projection out of this one. If you're looking for it. Again, age for this fragrance, I'm going to go with 30, age 30 to 105. Season, I think this is the perfect timing for the release of this fragrance, is like fall and winter. If you're living in a sort of cold climate, this is very warming and uplifting if you're dealing with cold. But I could also see myself wearing this like in the summer evenings. I'm going to test it out in the spring, but it really feels like fall and winter for me. And even when I think of winter, like going through Aries season, so like mid-March, right? Depending on where you live. So that is it, you guys. I know this video ran on a little bit long. Both videos ended up being pretty long about this fragrance, but I do love it and I highly recommend it. And if you decided to buy this one, let me know. What is your experience with it? And let me know if your nose picks up anything different from what I picked up. As always, love you guys. Peace.